an agency around the patterns,
Yeah.
like how does trust work? What does autonomy look like? Fear, these sorts of things. I think in general, it is just, did it generate something, or was that thing already there and it just was very much in alignment with it in terms of a more process-based understanding of ontology, like what it means to be as a unfolding process, and like learning how to, I think Deleuze called it jouissance, like that, orienting towards encounters that bring joy.
Yeah. Great. And as a male-bodied individual or someone who identifies as male, how do you see yourself inhabiting CI spaces?
That's definitely something that's shifted over time. I'm much more sensitive now to being a male identifying person in the CI space, and now especially as an experienced male. The trying to think of how to approach this.
Yeah, take your time with it.
So there's a level of, of deep physical intimacy which happens within the CI space. And, kind of speaking before about how many relational patterns can come up within the practice of CI. One of the primary ones for a lot of folks is the relationship to physical intimacy. And, the pattern that so much that is very deep within our culture is that, and especially kind of American culture, is that physical intimacy between adults equals sex.
Yeah.
Or sexual, physical intimacy is sexual intimacy.
Right.
And that's very kind of deeply ingrained, because we don't have a strong culture around touch. For, various reasons. So that's a hurdle, for a lot of people. And it's something that kind of has to get worked through. It doesn't have to, but like it's, I found it to be very beneficial to work through it. And it was a journey, to come out to the other side of that. And, yeah, there's very large conversations now, and for always, if you read the CQs, the Contact Quarterly magazines that Nancy Stark Smith put out since the beginning, and there's, always, every year there's another article about kind of sex, and intimacy, how to deal with these kind of issues within the contact improv space. And it's increasingly being kind of codified, which a lot of the older folks feel strange about.
Yeah.
And it's, it's necessary in a lot of ways. But for me, it was, it was a kind of journey around, there's a power that gets generated through the practice of contact improvisation, of like kind of deep physical relational proprioception, like being able to deeply listen to someone else's body and deeply listen to your own. And there's a level of intimacy that can be achieved through that deep listening, which has been, almost exclusively reserved for the sexual spaces. And so that's a power that kind of takes some reckoning with, and for me, I eventually came out the other side, and where I came to was a place where that, like that path towards, like, it's just not interesting. There's no curiosity there for me as much anymore. There's much considerably more generative to kind of strip away that constraint of entering into such a deep state of listening to another body and having a whole range of potentialities of where that listening can lead to, that is just much more interesting. And so, but I had to kind of work through that other part, which was a journey. And I went to, I don't know if you've heard of these touch and play events. I don't know how familiar you are with the contact improv culture or anything like that.
Not too much, just from what Kintla has shared, really.
Okay. So the guy who started Contact Improv, Steve Paxton, famously said years ago, Contact Improv is about physics, not chemistry. If you get the, and these folks, God, I don't know when they started it, maybe like about a decade ago in Europe. They were like, this is the elephant in the room. Like, let's like dive in. So they started a group kind of roving workshop thing. It began in Berlin, and now it's kind of spreading out in Europe and United States, and they call it touch and play, and it's like, it was born out of contact improv as a way to explore sexuality, and physical intimacy and contact improvisation. So I got into a couple of those, and they're really kind of interesting and fertile grounds. I think it's moved a little bit away from the kind of its deep contact improv roots, which is a kind of a bummer for me. But I thought it was really valuable, and they do a lot of great work on, kind of communication and consent and stuff like that. And working around desire, and what is desire, and what do you want. but I